Hello everyone. If you are catching this, you're catching the replay. So tonight I am going to put together my cards from kit number 2 of the July stamp of the month. So these adorable cards are created using the brushed Bring Back My Pack paper pack that is available now. And so I just got some things cleaned up here, and I'm so excited to go over these cards with you. They're so cute. So I have 3 kits to choose from. Kit number 2 is literally sold out, so I have kit 1 and kit 3 left. We are working on kit 2, but that's for the people that selected that. So you get this kit for free. It's my way to say thank you for shopping with me, and you get it when you get the July stamp of the month for that $5 price point. So this is the stamp set, and you get that. It's so cute, right? I love it, and I love everything that I've done with it. So here's the July stamp of the month. Love it. It's beautiful. It comes with 20 stamps, and it's available for $5 when you spend $50. And so when you do that with me, you get to choose one of the 2 kits that are left of the 3. So like I said, tonight we're going to put together kit 2. This has already been picked and selected, and so I don't have any more of these left. So all my kits are while supplies last. These are the 4 cards. We're going to put them together tonight, and when you get these kits in the mail from me, they all come pre-cut, so you don't have to do any of the cutting. I am going to do a little cutting tonight, and that's just because I'm wrapping up the pre-cut kits for you. So when you get your kit, it will come in a package like this, and you will open it up, and you'll have 4 envelopes, and your cards inside your cards will be a plastic bag with all of the small, finer details, and then the larger pieces will be just tucked inside of each card. You will get also a full printout of a PDF with all of the cards on there with assembly instructions. So it'll say, like, for card number 1, you'll want to do this first, this next, stamp this way, so on and so forth. So I like to make sure that everything is organized and together, and then you also have the videos to come back. I'll put this together afterwards. You'll have the video to come back to and look at it also for any reference materials. So like I said, we're going to put together all 4 kits tonight. I'm sorry, we're going to put together all 4 cards. So without further ado, let's get some cutting going. There's only one thing that I need to cut, and this is the banner, and I'm really excited to do this for you or with you on camera. This will come pre-cut for you when you get this in the mail, but I want to show you how it was done so that if you want to recreate it on your own with your own supplies, you can do it. And it's just very simply called the penny slider. So let me get some of my pieces ready. I know, I should have had it done first. All right, we'll put those up there. So we'll start with one of the simple cards, go to our shaker card, back to a simple card, and then finish it off with that penny card. We'll save the best for last. Okay, so for this one right here, and when you get your cards from me, they won't come stamped, because that's what you'll be doing. That's the whole purpose for getting your stamp set. I don't want to do the stamping for you if you already have your beautiful stamp set with you. So for this card, I used our tri-blend markers to color in the flowers, and I used the really pretty pale pink blend and the light green blend. So that's what I used to color my flowers on this particular one. And then I came in with the sentiment for my beautiful friend, and we'll get a couple of blocks to put these things on. And I just used, for the beautiful friend, standard black ink, or our regular black ink. But for the flowers, I'm going to use intense black ink. So it's a permanent ink versus a water-based ink. So that's the difference between the 2 of those. Get both of my inks out. And then I also came in with some silver stickles, and on the centers of my flowers, you can see that I added some silver stickles in there. So it's just a cute little container like this. All right, so let's get started. And of course, you could do whatever you wanted when you got your kit. You could do whatever sentiments you want or floral arrangements that you want. And I still need to go back and finish kit number 1. I saw I only did the 1 card. I didn't do the other 3, so that'll be a nice surprise to you. Okay, so we're working on kit 2, which again is sold out. No biggie though, right? And so it comes with all of these cute little pieces. And what we're going to do is when we put this together, we're going to start with the outside and then work our way in. And then that will help us get somewhat of some even spaced elements on here. Okay, so it's going to go in the center, and this will go on the end over here. And of course, they're all double-sided, right? So if you don't like the way that I have it set up, you're more than welcome, obviously, because it's your kit, to put it together how you see fit, how whatever color sequence looks good for you. So like I said, we're going to start from the outside and work in. And what I'm doing is I am just kind of eyeballing that border. And then now I can put my centerpiece in and not worry about either one of the ends being too far out. So just line it up at the bottom. Come in. Our next step is to add in this really pretty canary yellow, and I wanted to show you, I kind of did some of this a little plain on this one, so I kind of wanted to beef this one up. So to beef it up, I'm going to do a little bit of distress, which is super simple. It's very easy, and I'm going to come in with some almond ink. I also like toffee. That's really one of my favorite ones. But I grabbed almond, and I'm just going to take this to the cardstock, right? It's not super hard or anything like that. And then what I think I'm going to do for this one, just to kind of beef it up and show you a different way to do it, I'm going to dovetail the end of this. So I'm just going to eyeball the center from one end to the center, make a little dovetail notch, and put this down. So really easily, we have just changed the look on this card by adding some distressing with our ink, and then just dovetailing the end of this, which is really cute too, because we're going to dovetail this other little piece on the original card, right? And so they'll tie those two things in with each other. And then we'll just dovetail this really quick. And we'll add a little distress on this and our other pieces. And then we'll finish this card off with our stamping, and we'll be done with card number 1 and move on to 2 and 3. And remember, the cardstock is also double-sided. So it has that lighter, I think it's 10 or 15% lighter than the original. I'm going to leave this off to the side because we are going to stamp on that. Put this away. Let me get it back out. So this is the almond ink that I'm using. That's upside down. So if I put this down and I don't really care for this, I can flip it over and use the lighter version. So just know that there's tons of ways to make this kit personalized or put your personal spin on it. So I'm going to put this down. And so I just put it right about here. And then I'm going to take this little piece, and it's going to go here. Okay, now I'm ready to do my stamping, and we're going to put a little bit of foam tape underneath of this, or foam squares under this, to pop it up. So let's flip our Versamat over, which has a nice stamping platform over. Or if you don't have this, I recommend getting at least 2 of these if you're going to get them, especially if you're a scrapbooker. Each stamp set comes with this foam pad, so you can also grab this and use your foam pad that comes with your stamp set if you don't have this on hand. So I'm going to come in with My Beautiful Friend, and remember, I'm going to stamp that in that water-based ink because I'm not doing any coloring on that, so I don't have to worry about any bleeding or turning green or anything of that nature. And then I am just going to, as you can see here, come right about in the center and just go straight down and straight up. Look how beautiful this stamp set stamps. I absolutely love how crisp that looks. So now I'm done with this. I'm going to come in with my intense black ink and this little flower right here, and I'll add that to the two corners and we'll color it super quick. Take this off. Remember to clean that. And this is that intense ink. That's a permanent ink. It dries so they don't have to worry again about that bleeding. And I'll show you really quick when I do this coloring how I created this dark and light version of the flower where it goes, it's darker towards the center. It's super, super easy, and it'll look like you're a master colorer. Okay. Now, if you're stamping and it comes through blotchy, we have a black journaling pen, which is also permanent ink right here. And this would be wonderful to go over anything if you felt like you made a mistake on it. So I'm going to zoom in really quick so you can see my coloring. So you might get a little wobbly, and I apologize for that. So what I did with this, I am going to start with my light color, and I'm just going to color the tips of this like so. Really super quick. I'm not putting a whole lot of thought process into this. Just coloring the tips of these petals. And then I'll come in with my dark and color the center in. So I just have to flip my marker around because it's the tri-blend. So it has the dark, the medium, and the light all in one marker for easy blending. Okay, so now I'm just going to come in and just go right on out. So start in the center and work my way to the ends of that petal. Now, if it's super small and you're not comfortable with going back and forth or doing a circular motion, just come in and do little dots to fill it in. Okay, you have a little bit more control over it. You don't have to so much worry about where your lines are going. And if you're not a big colorer, this is a great way to avoid coloring outside of the lines. So again, you just do little dots until you feel like you haven't the coverage that you desire. So I love all the different tricks and ways that we can use these markers. If you're coloring a larger area, you start with the darker, go to your light, then to your medium, and then back to the dark. And that's not what I'm used to doing. I'm used to doing light, medium, dark, or something of that nature, but that's what Spectrum Noir recommends. And so I'm going to do the same exact thing with my leaves. I'm just going to pick a little bit, and then I'll come in and do that dark dot, if you will, for the center, where especially the ones that are by the other flowers where they'll have a little bit more of a shadow, right? So I'm just dotting it. And then, like I said, that helps just control where your marks are going. And look how cute that is. I love that. I love how that looks. Okay, so let's finish our card off. So here's our original, and then here's our remake. So to carry on the tradition, so for this one, we've kind of beefed it up a little bit by distressing the edges of our, see, in this one we didn't, and we did our dovetail. So I'm going to come in with this almond ink and just take my paper right to the ink pad. I know some people would prefer not to do that, and that's okay. And then I'm going to grab some foam dots, squares, on the back of this, pop it up. I might need to grab another sheet of these. I don't have any handy, so I'll just use my tape. Oh, I can't, that's too thin. Sorry, give me one sec. And I love doing this, popping these up at the very end. You could do all elements. You could have done the base border if you wanted to. No, that's not the same size, but we'll fill those blanks in really quick. Take the release paper off if you have a pokey tool. Oops, I already did that one. That makes a really good tool to pull these off really easily. But honestly, I like using the middle from my shaker cards to do this. Now in the first one, I doodled around the edge of it. I'm not going to on this one, just so that's something different. Now I can come in with my stickles. And I would leave this to dry a good half hour before touching the top of it after adding my stickles onto the center of my flowers. Okay. And then on the original, I did 3 dots. Am I still zoomed in? Oh, I'm so sorry. On the original, I did 3 dots over here. So I'll just do 3 dots at the bottom. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Okay, so that's card 1 of my kit 2 from Stamp of the Month. So let's put this off to the side and let's do our shaker card. How cute is this, you guys? I love, 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 love this. Okay. So we're going to come in with a card base. We're not stamping anymore, so I'm going to flip this back around. I love this Versamat. If you have one, give me a heart, a wow, something if you have one and love it. If you have one and have never used it, or put it away and only use it when you think about it, give me a like, a thumbs up. Okay, so this is really easy to do. I am going to need my tape. So when you get this kit from me, there are a couple of supplies that I won't provide you with. One of them is the acetate window that goes over top of this. You'll need your own acetate window and your tape. So I'm going to use the 1/4 inch foam tape from Close to My Heart to create my shaker here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to work left to right for my card base. I'm going to come back in with that almond, something I didn't do on the first card, just showing you how to beef it up and just kind of add a little bit of depth to it. It kind of gives it that fake layer behind it, or faux layer. Looks like there's an extra bit of cardstock or a layer underneath of it by doing this, I think anyways, and I think it's really cute. So it takes not much time at all to do it. And I love, love, love this candy apple green in this kit. So the paper that I'm using, in case you missed it, is that brushed Bring Back My Pack paper, which I absolutely love. It is so cute. And when I saw it, I'm like, this goes great with the July Stamp of the Month. I have to make some cards using it, and that's what I did. Obviously. So we're gonna work our left to the right, and I'm just gonna butt that right up to the edge. And then we will put a little depth on this when we get to the shaker portion of it. Oops. And just see what a difference that makes when you're adding that little bit of dimension to, it looks like there's a little extra layer between all of these by adding that ink to it. And that's what I like doing about that. Okay, so we're gonna put that off to the side. We're going to dovetail our pieces. I like to do all of the same steps at once. And dovetailing is so easy, and it's a great way to use to add an element without adding dimension, especially if you're going to be mailing these. You know, so we all know that sometimes when you mail something, and the higher it gets on the card, the higher it gets for the postage. Sometimes it's absolutely positively worth it. So we have all of those pieces. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with this, and I'm going to use that almond again. I'm going to distress this, and I'm going to add some foam squares behind it, and I'm going to add some depth to this twice. So I just think that would be pretty. And so this isn't quite a square. It's a little bit of a rectangle, this red candy apple piece here. And it should be, when you put this together, with the longer side out. Okay, so you don't want to put it this way, you want it this way. Okay, so we're going to take the release paper off. And I'm so sorry, this class or this tutorial or what have you was due to be scheduled at 2 o'clock today. And we had a little bit of a dental emergency. My husband had to go to the dentist and get some things taken care of. And of course, you know, he had to get some medicine that would make him not be able to drive and all those good gravy stuff. So I had to go with him. So that's why we're doing it a little bit later today. And then if you guys have been following along, my really good side CTMH sister means that we have the same downline. We started this group called the 100-Day Project. I'm sorry, it's called Let's Flock Together. And it uses the theme 100-Day Project, where you do a crafty project or scrapbook page or card or 3D element or something of that nature for 100 days. You guys, tomorrow is day 100. I cannot believe it has gone by this fast, right? I am just floored at it. And yeah, so tomorrow I am doing an interactive scrapbook layout, and I just honestly can't wait. So let me show you what I used for my acetate windows. You want something that's not super flimsy. This is super flimsy in here, and the reason why I made it with this is so that I can show you. Look how it bubbles, it pops up, it doesn't sit smooth. So if you, something that's not as flimsy are these cardstock pattern paper bags that we get from Close to My Heart. So just cut that up a little bit, and that can do if you don't have any traditional acetate paper. If you have acetate paper, which you can get from Amazon, Staples, places like that, by all means use that. But if you don't have that, this is a good alternative. So our box right here, or our window that we created, I used our square stitch dies to create this. And you can see that it's 2 inches by 2 inches. Okay, so I want my window to be cut at 2 inches. So I'm going to try and cut 2 inches out of here. And of course, this bag is a little bigger than 12. So it's going to hang over. So just under 2 inches, I'm going to cut this. So just cut a strip. Then I can use my scissors to cut the end of it off. This still isn't super sturdy, but it's a little bit better than the other one that I was using. I've also used this to make slider elements, this bag. So if you have like the double slider card, I've used these strips to make that. You definitely want to make use something that doesn't have a whole lot of pull on it. And so then I'm going to bring it back into my cutter. And I know you might not be able to see all of this because it's clear and on camera. And then I just cut this it's just slightly smaller than 2 inches. And so those are just some ideas for acetate if you don't have any at home and you need to come up with something quick. So we're going to adhere down our little flags, our banners. Really quick. We're going to do our stamping, create our shaker, and then we'll be on to the next card. And this guy's just going to go right in the center and then hang off. Just a little bit of adhesive there. Super cute. Okay, so put that off to the side. We're going to do our stamping, make our shaker. We're almost done. See, these cards, especially when they're pre-cut, come together so super quickly. Okay, just going to use my scrubber because my stamp chamois is dried out at the moment. And it doesn't take any long to wet it down. I just haven't done it yet. Okay. So this one is just for you. So we're going to come in with our stamp thing. I'm not going to do any coloring on this. So I'm just going to use that regular black ink, and I'm going to do my best to put it right in the center, okay? So just for you, put that off to the side, clean this off really quick. Then I'm going to come in with this little swish, and then I'm going to pick a color that's in this color palette that you see here on the card. I did like a pixie on here, so I'm going to come in with a canary yellow. I thought that would be really pretty. And just really kind of tie in the rest of that yellow. Make sure I got it stamped really good, and just stamp right on top of it. Now a little bit of this will peek out of my shaker window. I'm not too concerned about it. If you really didn't like it, you could put an absolute positively thinnest layer of white acrylic paint on it if you really wanted to, or white gel pen if you didn't like that sticking out. All right, so now we're going to build up our shaker. I'll turn this back over so I don't get adhesive on that part. I'll work on my all-purpose mat. So my 3 things plus my tape that I need to make my shaker. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to glue my clear window to my frame, okay? So I really like liquid glass to do that. I don't currently have any, so I'm going to use this multi. And let me tell you guys, just a little tiny bit goes a super long way, because you're going to smash this on, and the first thing it's going to do is smoosh out. So I know this is a little bit hard to see on camera. So I'm trying to bring it up. So you smoosh it on, and what's the first thing that it does? It oozes, right? So that's why you have to be super careful about the amount that you put on so it doesn't ooze out. And you can see that my window's just a hair bigger than my frame, and that's okay. Once it dries, I will take my scissors and just trim all of that off. So we're going to give that a second to dry, and I'm going to come in with my sequins. And any shaker bits will do for this, okay? I'm going to use the silver. I love this. This is so pretty for me. I'm going to use the silver, and I am just mixing it up so I can get a good feel in there, and just put this right in the center, okay? It doesn't have to be a whole lot, but just a little bit right in the center. And I want to make sure not too many of them are stacked on top of each other, because you don't want to get a tower in there. It'll be a lot harder to get it separated once you put your window down. All right. So this doesn't take much time at all to dry. I'm pretty good. I can come in and trim off that little bit of extra window that's popping out with my micro tip non-stick scissors, which if you've ever watched a video of mine, you know that they're my absolute favorite. And I'm going to show you why in a minute. Okay, now I'm going to take this 1/4 inch foam tape, and my roll comes from close to my heart. I know that you can see some of the products that I have in here don't come from close to my heart, but I try to use as much from close to my heart as possible, because I love it. I love their stuff. So this is a good tape. They've had this foam, this width and thickness of foam tape for years. So it's tried and true. How many of you, and I can't read the comments right now, I have to read them after the video. So if anybody is talking, I'm sorry, I'm not responding because I literally can't see them. How many of you have gotten the new catalog? I would love to see what your thoughts are on it. Now, when you put these together, you want to make sure you're not leaving any gaps when you're putting this around here. This is a little bit different than when you're doing a circle shaker window, because you know you're using the kit and it's already pre-cut for you, right? So you want to make sure that your gaps aren't big enough to let any of that come through. And so now you are ready. I have a little blob right here. I just want to try to get it off before we put it down. I'm just making it worse. So now we're ready to, there we go, put this down. Yay! I'm just going to do a dry run. I like to do a dry run before I take everything off. Put it down. Make sure everything flows. Looks good. I don't have any too big of stacks or anything like that, so I can just kind of move these around. And then I'll take this off my release paper, if I can get it to work. This is where the pokey tool comes into like really good, really handy. All right, and straight down and about as centered as our eyeballs will let us go. And I see it's a little cockeyed there. Really burnish down those sides. Yay! And then we're just kind of pounce it a little bit and make sure no towers. And what I mean by towers, we just don't have too many sequins on top of each other. So there's that. I'm going to come in with my almond ink and just distress this a little bit. It's going to make it pop on that candy apple red when we put it down. On here. See that yellow, that canary yellow came in great. So we'll just add some adhesive down here. I'm going to be a little bit liberal with it and just put enough on since it's a shaker element. It's got a little bit of weight to it, not much. And we'll put that on. How cute is this? So then what I did on the first one is I came in with some extra sequins from that silver packet, and I just picked out some silver sequins, the shiny ones that are in here, and I use those as embellishments. Like, how ingenious is that? I don't have to like worry about, the only difference is you got to add adhesive to it, which isn't really that. And I love these iridescent ones too, which really isn't that big of a deal, right? So we'll put one here, and I'll let this dry for a good 15 minutes or so before I'm really get into messing with it. Just so that I make sure everything is doing exactly what I want it to. And you can add as many loose shaker bits for embellishments as you want. Okay, we have 2 more cards to make and then we'll be done. So I'm going to put this one over off to the side to dry. So we're going to come back in with a really simple card this time. And then we have our penny slider card, which is next, which I love this. Look how cute this is. Okay. And I don't know that I have any pennies down here, so I might have to improvise. So I'm just going to grab a drink really quick. Okay, we can get started. So everything comes in the kit that you need, right? Nothing's changing. Your envelopes come in, all your pieces are pre-cut and they're put into little baggies. So I'm going to start by building with my dovetail pieces. So they're going to go here, and like I said, I try to do somewhat of a dry run first. So you can notice this piece doesn't go all the way to the end. Again, you can flip this over and make it however you want, right? I feel like I've done a really good job picking all the pieces out, but just in case I haven't. So there are 4 items that we're going to dovetail, then we'll distress them and adhere them down. And then that'll give us a starting point for where we put our center piece. That will just help us get it centered so it's not too high and it's not too low. So I love being able to give these tips to everybody. That way when you get your kit, you can come back, watch the video, and have an idea of how to do it. But also, you can also use the PDF that I send with it. I also email it, and then I give you a hard copy too. How cute is that? I love that little distressed part. And the whole point of this video is also to not only introduce you to the brush Bring Back My Pack paper and the July stamp of the month, but just to show that there's different ways to create the same card. It doesn't have to be exactly how it was shown. So now I have a really good idea of where my centerpiece can go. And I'm going to go ahead and dovetail these while I'm at it. That way they're done. So if you guys are in the Let's Flock Together group that I was talking about a little bit earlier, and you haven't participated yet, make sure you get in there and participate. Michelle and I are doing a drawing on Saturday, and we are going to give away 7 pre-cut kits from all of our Sunday Fun Day videos. So, and we're going to go do it for 2 winners. Like, how stinking cool is that? All right. So this part, you can just eyeball it. And then this one, I am going to come in with my journaling pen and just do a small outline around it for a doodle. Whoops, my hand got a little cut up there. Totally 100% optional. I like how it just, with all the starkness of the white, that was me. I like how this sort of draws the eye in. There we go. Sometimes I will like to put little tick marks on there. And it kind of, to me, reminds me of like a little stapler holding it on. You don't have to do that. It's total personal preference. All right, so we're going to do the same thing. We're going to add some foam squares behind this lagoon piece. And then we'll distress our stamping piece too. And we'll pop this up, and we'll go ahead and pop up our stamped piece also. I am loving this stamp set. The girl is like one of my favorites. I'll show you her in a second. On card number 1, I did a hidden element. It's got a little pull tab on it, and then you pull it up, and then the girl with the bouquet is just hanging out there. You know, oh, it's so cute. I think it's cute anyways. So here's that. We'll put these in and get our stamping done. So these just tuck in like this. And you can doodle on them to outline them if you want. And it's just super easy. Don't think too much about it, just go with it, right? All right, and you can push them in farther if you wanted. Then we have 3 little pieces that go here. I think we're gonna stand these guys up like this. And I'll put those, I'm gonna start over here. I'm gonna put the sequins in just like I did on the original card. And we'll add a little bit of glue to those. And I'm just working right to left. That way I have my spacing right. Oh, I didn't get any adhesive on that. All right there, gun. Perfect. I'll put a little dot on there. On this original card, I put a white sequin down and then one of those iridescent ones. So I'll show you exactly what I did. So I just pulled out a white. And I'll move them around in a second. I have a little bit of play time here. Kind of even them up a little bit. There we go. And then I'll come back in with a little bit of glue. Not a whole lot, just a tiny little bit. As I say that as more of it comes out. And then I really got to hunt a little bit because I've used a lot of my iridescent ones up. So the iridescent ones are this right here. They're so cute. And by doing that, it just really makes them pop. And I just dumped a little bit out because I want the smaller size. I want it to fit right inside of that white one to make it look like a little flower, if you will. Considering the brush pack has all those floral pretties with it, and so does the stamp of the month. See if this works a little bit better. Get up there. It was sticking to my finger. There we go. And we'll just maneuver that around. Okay, so we'll let those dry while we do our stamping. Dry-ish. Okay. So I'm going to come back in with my Versamat to wrap up our stamping on this. So for this one I did, you bring so much happiness to my life. So that's what we'll be doing. And you could do it in the tense black if you wanted to. You don't have to. And then the one thing that I really like about this is that you can highlight whatever you want. I'm going to do happiness just like I did in the sample, right? And before I stamp it in the canary, I'm going to just do a little doodle. All the way around. There you go. And now I'll take my little swoosh. I don't really need to worry too much about cleaning it off because I'm still using that canary color, but we'll give it a little swipe just in case. Got some air bubbles in there, so try to get those out. And straight down, straight up. How stinking cute is that? That brings that little sentiment right to life. Okay, we can come in with this. Now you could put regular adhesive on here, or you could pop this piece up also. And that's what we'll do. We'll just kind of elevate this card a little bit and pop this one up also. Love it. We have one card left. It's our penny card. I'm so excited to do this card. It was so easy. I am going to do a little bit of the die cutting just so you can see how I did it. But when you get the kit, it already comes that way. So look how cute that is. So this one, everything was pretty flat. And this one, we just kind of beefed everything up. All right. And then this one is really cute because it is also a top folding card. And so I have a little bit of extra white daisy. I'm going to put it on the inside of it just so that it gives it a little bit more stability since it has this weight in the front of it right here. So we'll put some white daisy on the inside of this. Okay. So the two things, everything will come pre-cut, but remember I'm going to show you how I created this so that when you get your kit and after you've put it all together and seen how it's done, you can go ahead and make more penny cards, slider cards if you want. And I'm going to show you my cute little trick to do it. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp Sure Do Miss You at the top and get our stamping out of the way. That way I know exactly where to put my track at. Sure do miss you. Right at the top. Oop. Come back in with that canary, do a little swoosh stamping on top of it, a little highlight. Perfect. And then we will create our track. So what I've done to create my track, I'm going to use my Cuttlebug. Again, when you guys get this, this will already be done for you. So don't worry about that. So I'm going to bring in my Cuttlebug. And I am going to use a banner. Okay, a real simple banner. And this is, so don't feel like you have to like get an X-Acto knife or whatever. Just use this super cute little banner. And so that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to grab some wash painter's tape, put that down. I'm going to grab my mats and I'm going to cut that out. How about I grab, oh yeah, I did. I was going to say, how about I grab them all? But I didn't realize I do have that B plate in there. Now this doesn't come with thin cuts, so you do see that butterfly on the original one. I will fussy cut that out. So you can save this for a future project if you want when you're doing this at home. So bring my pieces back in here. And I'll show you how I colored this butterfly. And I used this really pretty Citrus Blend Tri-Blend marker. So I have the Tri-Blend, so it's got that dark, that medium, and that light color. Helps if you put, there. Now they're all together. Light, medium, and dark. So I did that very similar to how I did the flowers. So if you were watching that earlier, that's how I did that. Okay, let's do our distressing and our dovetails. So for the dovetails on this one, I did one on the true color, and then I flipped it over and did the lighter version of it, just so I had that contrast. Okay. I just thought that was really cute to do that. I got all my clip-ins everywhere. And then these long banners right here are all done that same way. You just want to come in like this. Now, I didn't cut one of these because I wanted to show you an alternative. I have some leftover soft pink shimmer trim. And so in lieu of this piece, since they're just about the same size, I know it's a little bit bigger, I wanted to show you what it would look like by jazzing it up, by adding just a little bit of shimmer trim to it and dovetailing that, okay? So I didn't forget about this piece. I just purposely left it off. I'm going to eyeball the cut here. So let's get these pieces distressed, and then we'll add that one on last. Just adding that little bit of shimmer just makes a huge difference. And I didn't go with gold just because I'm going to be using those silver stickles, but if you have stickles that would match and you have gold shimmer, change it up for sure. Change it up. Okay. Bringing that almond end. This off to the side. Love, 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 love this. So, if you're just joining me, this kit is free from me. It's a huge thank you for shopping with me and just supporting my business. I am just a stay-at-home mom. I'm not just. I am a wonderful stay-at-home mom. And so when you support my business, it's going right to me and helping me support my family. You know, it helps. We use this to do all of our scouting adventures with and things of that nature. So definitely appreciate it. So this is my way to say thank you. So it's free when you shop with me, and you get that July stamp of the month at that $5 price point. So I'm going to come in with some spare or scrap white daisy piece, and I'm going to stamp this butterfly, and I'm going to stamp it in the intense black. Okay, you know what, let's say you don't have intense black. Let's say you just have this regular black. I don't want you to get discouraged. I will show you how to color this so that you are least likely to get it to bleed with the regular one. You still really want to invest in that intense black ink, but if you're waiting on it or don't have it, or it's just not in your budget at the moment, I'll show you how to do it. It's not a fail-safe, and it could still bleed, but it is a nice alternative. So I am taking that and stamping it there. I'm going to give it a minute to dry, okay? I'm not going to mess with it. It doesn't dry instantaneously, but so I'm going to give that a second to dry because I'm going to color it and then fussy cut it out. So while I'm waiting on that, I'm going to come in and put the pieces in that we've already distressed. So I'm going to start from the left and work to the right. And this should go from top to bottom. I'm going to come in with that really pretty pale pink. It's not available anymore, but I'm sure we have lots of stuff that's in our stash that we need to bash. So just because something's not available anymore doesn't mean you shouldn't use it. You should use it until it's gone. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Oh my goodness. Usually what I do with this is I leave it on the roll. And then once it's on the roll, I leave a little bit of that white hanging off there. So I'm just going to put this a little overlapping that canary yellow rose piece there and bring it in as best as I can. So this design will be off just slightly just because this piece isn't as thick or wide as the other one. But look how cute that is. I love that. So we're going to come in with our little canary pieces. And we can't put the slider together until we get everything fussy cut out. I don't know if you guys are watching and you're in the US, but it's so humid here, and I'm in Ohio, in our basement. It's so humid in our basement. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm not going to adhere this down. The reason why I'm not going to adhere this down is because I need to put this all in together. Okay, so if I adhere it down right now, right, it's not going to work. So I'm just going to do some placement here. Some dry run, that's what I like to call it, is a dry run, to see where these guys go. And then that should look nice right there. And then this will go on top. And it will look so beautiful. Okay. So let's color this piece, and then I'm going to need a 1-inch circle cut. From my pieces for my butterfly, because my butterfly isn't big enough to cover my penny, so I'm going to need a 1-inch circle cut. Oh, you know what? I want to color this first. It's just easier. Okay, so I'm going to do something very similar to I did the flowers. If you were watching for the flowers, I am going to come in with the light on the ends and then the dark in the center, and I'm just doing those dots, right? So I'm just doing the dots, trying not to touch the black as much as possible. That really works on these little tiny areas right here where it has that intricate stamping in here. So those dots work really, really well because you're not coloring back and forth, and then you help avoid that. So when you do color on top of it, what happens is it bleeds into there and it turns like a really yucky green, like almost like a tattoo that was bled, you know, like that's bleeding into itself and you can hardly see what it is anymore. And it's got that old tattoo army green color to it. That's almost what it like kind of turns into. So I'm just tapping. And I'm going to come in with the dark. And that's going to be really close to the inside of the butterfly. Again, I'm just doing those dots or tapping. And I'm not going all out. I'm not like being really aggressive with my tapping. Very light taps. And then I'll fill the medium or the center in with the medium color. And then it kind of gives it that ombre feel. It doesn't kind of, it actually gives it that ombre look. And then you didn't have to worry about smearing or the ink bleeding. And it still can do it. This is no works. This is just the best workaround if you don't have that intense ink. Okay, so now I can cut this out. Now you don't want to use a dime. A dime will be too small. It won't fit in your track, so that's why we use a penny. There are different, you can use buttons, anything that's a circular that will be able to finagle inside of the track. So if it's not, if it's too small, it'll just fall right out. So like I said, I didn't have any pennies down here. I just realized as I was getting ready to make this last card. So I have some buttons, so we'll try to use some buttons and see if we can get a really good result with that, which I'm pretty sure that we can. But the penny slider card is so fun. And I'm really sorry that I can't see any comments, but whoever's out there, hello, and thank you for watching, and thank you for joining. Okay, one of the tricks to doing this is having circular foam dots, okay? If you don't have that and all you have are square ones, you need to make sure that you round them off, because if you don't, what's going to happen is, hopefully you can see this in here, these are going to get caught on your track. So if those are square, it's going to bounce back and forth and it's not going to flow nicely like that, right? It's going to get stuck. So this is really important. Either round it off or get some, I don't know, maybe I'll have a janky one. Let's see. I have these wooden buttons that we have left over, and that will fit in my track. What will my butterfly will fit on there. So you know what I think I'm going to do? Pay attention to your thickness, okay? So you can see that I'm using, this is my width, right? Plus I'm going to have a foam dot on there. So when I put this on my lagoon piece over here, I'm going to have to double up on my foam tape, because I want the track to be open so it can slide. So if I just put regular thin foam tape on here like this, it's not going to work at all. There's not going to be enough space. So I'm going to double up on our foam, just so you know. But what I'm going to do with this really quick, I'm going to come in with my tri-blend and I'm going to color this so that I don't have to cut any extra paper out. I have everything cut for the kits to go home, but look at that. It'll blend right in, and look how cute that was. So easy. You can get these buttons. They're still available on my shopping site, but look how cute that is to change the buttons so it matches. All right. So when I put these together, I'm going to put it, a little foam dot in there, so you can see that I have that on there. I just have one right in the center of those pennies. Hopefully you can see that. And so I just used this size right here. And I'm going to center it as best as possible. It's not down all the way. Right there. Take the release paper off. Make sure it doesn't stick on the paper that's here. And stick it in together. Okay. Yay, we have a slider. So now what we have to do is glue our pretty little butterfly on there. But before I do that, I'm going to add some really pretty stickles to it. Nope, I'll save that for the end, because you know what I will do. On camera, I will touch it 1,000 times and then it'll get all messed up and it'll just be a silver blob. So I'll do it at the end. So here are my two. Here's my sample one. Isn't he so cute? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my foam. I have some foam squares over here, and remember I'm going to double them up. So one, I want to make sure that I don't put them so close to my track that it prevents my mechanism from moving. Okay, so I do want to pay attention to that, and I am going to put some down here, so it means I'm going to have to cut. So it's another thing that, you know, when you get your kit, you will have a really nice ample supply of area to put your adhesive down. So remember, I'm doing this 2 layers high. And because I'm not using a penny, I'm using a wood button, I'm going to go 3, just to be on the safe side. If I was doing a penny, 1 is sufficient. That will teach me to use pennies for here on out and not big thick wooden buttons. But you know what? I'm sure that improvising has never happened before in the crafting world. Ha 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 ha. Funny, funny. I cracked myself up. Okay, so I'm going to go 3 high, right? This is going to be a really tall card. This one may not make it through the mail without some extra stamps. But I really want to make sure that that has some room to grow or move. So you see by adding that 3rd layer how much I'm able to let that freely go. And then I'll do the same down at the bottom. So we'll leave that release paper on there. I'm going to come in with my non-stick scissors and build this bottom area up. And I'm going to go as close to that edge as I possibly can. I just want to make sure that's not going to get stuck, so that's why I'm taking the time to stop and check. Perfect. It's coming along so nicely. And then the last one, and then we can build it up 3 layers. Okay, good. And this part takes a little bit of time, but honestly, it's worth it with the wow factor that it gives. Also, we'd already be done if I was using pennies, so just keep that in mind. Just add these pieces on. And then if there's any overhang, when I flip it over, I will double check that. And by overhang, I mean on this edge over here. I'm just going to check it and make sure the flow is good. Yeah. Perfect. And last layer. If you've made any penny cards before, penny slider cards, let me know. I would love to hear your favorite penny card that you've ever made. If you haven't made one, what's your favorite one that you've seen on Pinterest? Because we all know there is one. And how cool is it that you get a penny card in your kit? My kit number 3 also has a penny card, so when I do that tutorial, I'll make sure I have pennies down here. Okay, so I'm just cutting off this overhang that I was talking about. Oh, that happens. I pushed it out. I'm just cutting off this overhang that I was talking about when I put it on here. Because you don't want that sticking out when you're making your, or when you're doing your card. Right? You don't want it to stick out over there. Okay, so we can put this back in. And it just pops in like that. You didn't have to make it the way that I did, but I wanted to. And then now it's ready. Look how cute that is. All right, so we'll take our release paper off. We got it all trimmed up. And now we're ready for the magic to happen. You could do this if you wanted your cardstock to be more sturdy. You could do 2 layers and it would cut through 2 layers nicely. Ay. So we'll center this right down. Yay, it works. Okay, so now it's time to put our butterfly on and attach this here. And then we're going to put our white daisy in the center so that there is a nice place for us to put some writing or a sentiment or whatever you want on the inside. It's a top folding card out of our cardstock. Okay, there we go. We'll get a little bit of glue. And it doesn't take much time for this to dry, so I'm just going to press them down. Grab our stickles. And then just make his body really pretty and shiny. And you can go all the way up his antennae. on each side, and then as little dots. So the inside of this is still a standard size cardstock. So the inside of this, I would cut it just a little bit shorter than what it would be. So it would be, traditionally it'd be 5.5 by 4.25, right? So on this particular one, I would cut it down to 4 by 5.25, and that is going to give us a nice little border around all of the edges. So I'm going to let that dry before I put my inside in, but I left this one open so that you could see what it would look like. This is my sample. And so since that's all dry and done, and now we have a finished penny card. So we made 4 cards tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed this and you had a wonderful time. This is kit number 2. Kit number 2 is sold out. Spoken for. It's already been taken, but I do have kit 1 and kit 3 available, and kit 3 is super cute. I'm going to show you that really quick. I'll be back next Monday to do kit 3. So here's another penny slider. Look how cute that is. Adorable, adorable cards. Look how gorgeous this is. I love, love, love this one. So this is kit number 3, and I will come back on Monday to do that tutorial. And this is kit number 1. Oop. Those are the ones that are done. I'm hiding it. So this is kit number 1. I did one of these cards with you guys last week, which was this one. This is the original and this is the redone. And then I'll do the other ones. And here's this, I have another shaker card to go. And then here's this really, really super cute one. It says, "For my beautiful friend." The pieces for making the sample are coming out. And then you take this little tab and you flip it up, and look how gorgeous that is. So I'll be back to show you guys that one too. And the little flower keeps that tucked in so nice. So that's kit 1. You guys are fantastic. I cannot wait to see you guys again later on in the week. And if you're not doing anything tomorrow, catch me on Let's Flock Together for my last day of teaching in that group. You guys are amazing, and I will see you on the flip side. Bye.